my name is Ingrid, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my novel that I'm currently working on. Tentatively, it's called Blue Eyes, though I might change this later. I'm not sure. For now, it seems to work, but we'll see how I go along. So, I was just thinking of a few things, and just a way of going through my thought process. It would make it easier for me to make a video and kind of vocalize key details of the novel. And I was thinking of talking a little bit about the characters, the main plot, and stuff like that. So, this book targets a lot of issues. So we're looking at big issues dealing with mainly youth, teenagers, even preteens, young adults, those in high school, college, university, things like that. People who are stigmatized, people who are bullied, harassed, people who feel lonely, isolated, things like that. Specifically, things such as gender identity, dealing with gender dysphoria, being unsure of your gender at any point in your life. There's sexual orientation, questioning it or being dealt with improperly, inappropriately, things like that. We also have abuse, physical, emotional, sexual. And then I'm also going to look at mental illness, a few being bipolar, schizophrenia, schizoid personality disorder, depression, and a few anxiety disorders. Though this is a very limited list, there are way more mental illnesses than I could cover, but I'm looking at a few of the more common ones I would find readers better able to relate to. But if you have or know somebody with another mental illness, never hesitate to research it on your own time. The best combat to prejudice and ignorance is education. Like, really. The reason why some people are so racist, so homophobic, is because they haven't been taught anything otherwise. That's why we have a lot of oppression we do in this world. So, those are the issues, the main issues that I'll be covering. We also look at, like relationships, very typical. It's realistic fiction, so that's bound to come up. Things like breakups, dealing with those. And then, feeling lonely, very typical issues as well. But we're mainly focusing on these larger issues that a lot of people are afraid to speak on. Alright, so those are the conflicts that usually arise. Now we'll talk about who's involved. So the main character in my novel, his name is Alex. He's about 18 years old. I think he might be 17 in the beginning of the story. He's a transgender youth. He's a female to male transgender. So that means he was born biologically female. And he wishes to go through the process of transitioning into a man through various processes. Sorry. So the main central story is about living as a transgender youth, but there are side stories with secondary characters. Alex being the primary character. Secondary characters include Saffron, who deals with depression, and she also finds herself in a long-distance relationship and dealing with someone she loves from far away. There's Riker, who ends up in a relationship with Alex. And Riker also has issues with things such as drugs, later on alcohol. I don't want to ruin or spoil too much, but a few mental illnesses come along the way and interfere with possibly their relationship and his academics and such, and their influence overall. There's also, I don't want to spoil anything too much again, but there's Finn, a very mysterious young man who seems to show a lack of emotion, and Alex seems very confused and frustrated by this. This happens later on in the novel, about part two or three, um, and um, as it is, it's a mental illness. More on that as you read. There's also going to be Ashlyn, who is Alex's childhood friend, and the story goes about how a few things actually, how much she changed from when they were younger. That's one. Another being a couple of the relationships she's been in, the problems that have arisen, such as, um, different types of abuse and such, trust issues. Um, then there's going to be, I think I'll leave it at that. I don't want to give too much away, but those are most of the like the biggest characters you'll find in the novel. There are other characters as well, obviously, but for time's sake, we'll leave it at that. Sorry, I thought there was someone at the door. All right. I guess if I had to give it a summary, I would say it's a collection of narratives, so it's told in various points of view. Mainly Alex, like I said, but I also share some of the viewpoints of these other characters I mentioned, along with a couple of others, I'm pretty sure, but you'll have to read it to find out. So, a collection of narratives that tell of struggles that are actually not so uncommon, but a lot of people think they are because of how hush hush they are, like mental illness, like I said. A lot of people don't know how to speak about it, so it doesn't get spoken about. Well, this story will tell of these problems, the thoughts they might be experiencing, the external conflicts as well with other people and with other things like that. So, yeah, I guess I'm rambling a little bit, but yeah, summarize: collection of narratives, telling of issues that need to be spoken about eventually in order to lessen the degree of stigma and oppression we have in almost every society around where I have experienced. I know this is all over Canada. I can't speak for other places, but I'm pretty aware that this happens to some degree everywhere in the world. So it is quite a universal topic. I mean, I'm sure everyone can relate to something in this novel, whether to a small degree or to a larger degree. Maybe you feel like almost everything that Alex is saying just really rings true to you. Or maybe one of the secondary characters is just very familiar and you think, I might be able to find a connection here. And regardless of how you find that connection, I really hope that if you do, or when you do end up reading my novel, as it goes, or when it's all complete, I hope you do find something that you can find meaning in. Or maybe you can connect to it because it reminds you of somebody you care about, somebody in your life. Maybe a family member's been affected by one of these things that happens, or, a partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, partner, whatever, a friend, anybody. So it can be really broad, but I'm going to try and break it down a little bit. And I'm going to make people feel a little more educated when they finish reading. I guess I'll wrap it up. I'm not too good at making videos, but yeah, I hope this clarifies a little bit about what this novel's about. I didn't want to confuse anybody by rambling too much, but it looks like I did anyways. So I hope you got something out of that discussion there. And yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks for listening.